Okay, welcome to another My Two Good Hands video. Hey, we are here in the basement. Today we are rebuilding our Sears water softener control head. Check it out. So our softener is hidden behind these doors. There it is. Yes, that thing is about 15 years old or thereabouts. Maybe it's 14, I don't know. I'd have to look exactly. But let's go in there and check it out. Here we are, another My Two Good Hands video where we rebuild the control head of a water softener that's leaking. We're going to go through all the processes, how we got the kit, where we got the kit. Again, please support the channel using Amazon links below if you need something. Even if you don't need that item, use the Amazon link and buy something else. It does help support the channel. Again, My Two Good Hands will thank you for that. And we appreciate all the support this channel gets from you. Catch you in the next video. Don't forget, sit back. We're going to do this next. This is our Sears softener. And to take this cover off, which is already loose, you got two tabs in here. You can see this tab right here. You pull this away and you pop this thing off. You just want this off and out of the way so you can work on it. You can set it there out of the way. You can see what we've got here. We've got a very dirty control head. We'll get you in close. I'm going to plug it in because once it plugged in, when we start this process, you hear it power up again. I had it unplugged because I didn't want it to run when it leaks so much. You can see all the water and leakage on top, all of this and all this rust. This is your bypass valve. So I know the first thing in the instructions are right here, is the first thing is depressurize. So the first thing they want you to do is put this in the bypass position, okay? So when you put this in a bypass, you push this in. So we're going to go push this in here. And there you go. When we've got this apart now, we'll lubricate this up some too. You can see how this bypass is now pushed in, so water won't go through it. The next step of this instruction here says start a manual recharge and let it go for 10 minutes. We probably don't need that, but we're going to unplug it after that. But what you can do is, I guess you got to set the clock. Okay, so now the clock is set. So if we push this button and hold it, start the manual recharge. Basically, it is going to the clean cycle. And we're going to let it go in the clean cycle. It's going to stop. They said, wait 10 minutes. So this actually has a counter right now. It says 4. So it says minimum of 10 minutes and unplug the softener. So we'll bring you back in the 10 minutes. We're going to let that go. So when we got past the 5 minutes on the clock, we expected this thing to turn again. It did not turn. It's actually sitting there saying clean, and it's flashing, and the counter is not moving. So it looks like it's not going to advance to the next spot because there's no water pressure. But we're going to let it go the 5 more minutes just to see. So here are the tools. Here we got the grease we need and the parts kit off of Amazon. We got some other tools here, a flashlight. It came with great instructions. So this will be the first time doing it. Nothing's pre-staged. You're going to see what happens when you really do this job on your own. We're back. So it says after the 10 minutes, unplug the plug from the wall so the transformer's not running. That shuts this off. So it's all off now. We're going to start by taking this motor off because we got to get all the screws. Careful not to break your screws. Set them on top of the water heater here. This is oily because I did put WD-40 on this a couple days ago. And we pulled that out, and you can see that that's pretty nasty. We'll grease this part up before it goes back on. We're just going to take this and right now let it hang down here underneath here. Bring it around, and so it's not hanging by the wires. Just kind of set it up there. Then we got this motor plate. So we are going to see if we can get the motor plate loose. Oh, that screw came easy. Keep in mind, it is plastic. These are bitty bitty screws. This plate will come off. Now, this plate's gotten very rusty because of the water leakage. Don't lose the plastic bushing that's in here. It's very important. We will be cleaning this up before we put it back in. Now we've got the top here. See how dirty this gear is? I think we're going to have to take this out in the garage and wire brush this off when we got this piece off. Plus, we're going to have to take that off to get it out of there. So we want to try to get this piece off. So we're going to kind of diddle with that a little bit right now. And get a little WD-40 in the edge there. I'm going to tap on that a little. Pull up on this a little. The instructions, it does show you that lifts off. It doesn't tell us that we have to unhook any snap rings or anything in here, but we're going to clean that up good and take a look. Does not look like there's any rings in there that would stop you from taking that off. May have to get and put a puller on it. Got ourselves a gear puller we can put in here. The gear puller goes like this. So we got it snug by hand. We do note that this limit switch, we can pull the gear straight up. I'm going to put this on here. Hold this piece here, the wrench on the top here. Let me move you so you can see it all. So what we're going to do is put this wrench on here. Lightly turn this. It should bring that thing up. And it looks like we are coming up nice and smooth there. There we go. That's all there was to that. Take this out of here. So there you go. We got this off. We're going to take this out to the garage and clean it up with a wire brush real good. Okay, this cleaned up. Didn't clean up super well, but it is cleaned up somewhat here. We see it's got some letters on it. We have to clean it a little more to read the letters. There's an R here for regen. Let's see. We were on clean. We know that. It looks like this blade here is the counter and where it needs to be. And there's probably an S here for service. So let's continue on this process here. We don't want to try not to take this off, but these connectors, we don't want to really take the connector off. So we're going to see if we take these two screws out with this switch down here. The instructions tell you don't have to take this off, but we're taking it off. They are very small and long screws. So we'll show you those. What kind of screw that is. Put them up here. Well, with the other stuff in the water here. We can just take that, lay it out of the way. Now we're going to take all these screws out. The rust, got ourselves a 6-point nut driver. We're just going to come in here and kind of go along and try to loosen them all. Loosen them a little, turn them in a little bit, kind of work them back and forth a little so you don't crack. You don't want to break these screws off. As you get the screws loose, you're going to find that I was worried about this head coming loose. It looks like it's very loose already. So, looks like this is very loose. Looks like it comes off really easy here. So you can see what you got inside here. We have to pull this piece out because we have a bunch of O-rings and what have you on there. When you pull this out, keep track of what O-rings are where. See, there's an O-ring right here by the top. This O-ring by the top here, very dirty, maybe damaged. There's this washer pack in here. There is another big O-ring right here. There's another big O-ring, and there you go. Now, when we took this out, it was put. It was like this. So we do have to put this back where it came from. We're gonna tip this up here, get it out of the way here. Just gonna take it. It's on a hose, so we're gonna leave it hang right there. So we're gonna clean this up real nice. Put our new O-rings on this piece. You can see you got this platform here. So we're gonna go clean this up upstairs. You can see a lot of dirt on there. We're gonna clean this up and we'll be back, and then we'll start working on the components in here. We'll get all the water out of here and work on this. We'll show you up close. So we're looking at what's inside of here. Yes, it's dirty. You got a big O-ring. We can take the big O-ring out. We can't really mess up where that goes. We can wipe this all off here. That's where the new O-ring is gonna go. Come down in here and get most of this water out of here with a few towels. Kind of toss those down. If you get a bigger rag, you get more water out easier. Basically, what I'm working on is lowering the water level below all the components we're going to install. I don't have to get it all out. I got to get a fair amount out, though. A little plunger piece here. This plunger piece, they did give us a new cap for it. Very careful not to lose any pieces that might be in there. It doesn't look like there's nothing in there. Nothing in that hole. So let me kind of get that cleared out. Now here's an important part. You'll see which part is where on these seals that are internal. The plastic one is on the top, and the V cone is down, and then the rubber one is in there second. Now if you can't get the rubber one out, I'll show you a little secret for getting that out. But what we'll do is we'll turn this upside down and tap our water here so we know which way it came out. Just flip it in. We can't get this out. I got a trick for that. So I got a little bitty screwdriver. I can come in here and be careful not to scratch the plastic. This thing to peel out. I'm going to set this down. Yeah, there we go. So that comes out, and if you look real close on your parts that you get like this, this is a V, and again, if we flip it over, the V goes right in the other V groove. Therefore, you understand how that goes. Keep in mind, that's a non-moving part. That other piece slides on it. The other piece you have is right here, right here. Got this figure 8 piece. We dig that out, same way. You come in with a screwdriver and got how to get that out very carefully. Again, you'll see that's got ridges. That's got ridges on the side that goes down. So again, we're gonna start putting this back together soon. We're gonna wipe this all clean, and we'll flip that upside down up there too. I don't need our screwdriver anymore. So everything's dug out. Now it's a matter. Let's clean it up a little bit. So here's where we have our silicone grease that we're going to coat all of our parts with. So you can squirt a little of this on there and mush it around with your fingers. Get it all coated real well. This is one so you don't dry start. Everything seals nice. For this, we're just going to push it back in there just like it was. Remember, the rib side goes down. And we can put a little more grease on top here. Now we have the other one. Now remember, we got to put the rubber in first with the blade up. Our new rubber part. You look at this, you can see it's got like 2 little ridges on this side and then a blade on this side. So we're just going to take and get a bunch of this grease on here. I'll get a little more than that. We're just kind of doing this to get the grease on there, okay? Now again, you have to remember that the grease in here in the corner here. That didn't work well. Put a little more in here. Make sure we got it's good and lubed. Now we can take this, and you got to remember the V side. Remember, sure, the V side is up, the double row side is down. You look at our other one, it's exactly the same, the way it came out. So then you can put that in there like this. Just kind of work it in there. See, it doesn't quite, if you keep pushing it everywhere, you should get it to stay in. If it doesn't want to stay in, stuff a little dab of grease in there. A little grease, the grease will hold it in place. This is a silicone grease that is FDA approved and leaks in the back. Apparently the tube does. Because as we've been squeezing it here, we've been getting lube out the back. So that's got that covered. We're going to set this down on a piece of towel now. Got the other piece. We'll put a little grease on this. Hold it in place. Again, you can look close at this. It has a flat side and a side with a V in it. The side with the V in it goes down against here. Basically just like that. You kind of push that in there. That grease will hold that in place, just like the other parts. Okay. So now our next step is to get this plunger piece. This piece, which they gave us a new top for. I'm not really sure how to get the old one out. So this just floats in here. So we can clean this up. We'll put a little dab of grease to hold it. It does have a shelf, and the new one has a shelf. Make sure that the shelf is in. So the shelf goes in like that, and we'll go clean this up and put the new one in. Again, we're putting a little grease on this this part, so that you can look at the ledge and find the ledge, and it only goes one way here. You'll know that. And then that one in this cubby right here. You can see where that went. We've got to get our big gasket and our other pieces done. So we've got this part we have to put in. We're not sure where exactly we have to turn it, but we do know sort of here is where it was. But we have to replace this O-ring and this big O-ring. So we're going to take this spring washer off, set it up here. We're going to take these 2 washers off. Little O-rings are off. All right, we're going to lube up our new O-rings and get them on this shaft. Now, when you put this O-ring on the top, I'll be very careful not to cut it on any of the parts here. Now we can take our spring and put it back on here. Same way it was before it came off. Now, this side, of course, is we can rub a little lube on there. That's the side that's going to go down. We don't know exactly which way to put it. So what we're going to do is we're going to fit this onto here. And this only goes one way. See, it's a hole where you can't put it the wrong way. So we'll put it this way. And then what we're going to do, well, salt fell down. Okay, we know that when we were on clean, that's service. When we were here on clean, it was about right here. So that's right where we're going to put that. And we're going to pull this back off. That's where we say that's about where that goes. We put the cover on. One thing you want to do is get yourself a lot of grease on your O-ring here. You see, we're just kind of greasing that up. That'll go in here just like this. See, that sits on there. We'll put a little more grease on there. The other thing we're going to do is going to wipe this out with a paper towel, and we're going to grease this up because that has to slide over that part. We'll get some grease on our finger. I'm going to go in here and see if we can get this all greased up in here. We know that the other big O-ring sits in this part, so we're going to make sure we got a little in there. So we got that all greased. We got our O-ring in there. We got this set down. We know that that's how that's going to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and remember that this hose went out towards the back here. So just like this, I'm going to try to work that onto that. Yeah, it's not really, that O-ring's not going in real well. This O-ring is not going in real well. Let's see if we put it in this side. Bring in there. It's not going in real well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this assembly back up. Take this assembly back up and now be careful that you don't have parts stick and go the wrong place. Like this stuck on our blade. So we have to put this back in here like this. It's all ready to go together. Try to get this to go in here. Feel it now, move in and out. So we are in the O-ring. So now we're going to put this on here. Make sure all your parts are correct. Put this on here just like this. You can feel that go in. What we're going to have to do is feed the screws in here and start a couple of them. And you want to make sure you bring these down in a crisscross pattern so you don't wreck your O-rings. Let's stop and clean our hands. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start by holding this like this and just bringing these right down to where they touch. Right there. Go to the other side, do another one. We'll do these two. Then we're going to put some more on. We're going to drop in these other ones. Let's see when she turns it. All right. It says center the rotor, seal, valve, and disc in place. So we did that. We snugged it up. It says to lubricate that gear, which we'll get. It says make sure the switch is orientated the right way. So when we put this switch on, we got to make sure that it's orientated this way. There's only two holes. I don't think so you can't go in those holes. It's got to go in those two holes. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the piece on there first before we put that on. To repressurize the system, it says when it's completely reassembled, plug the softeners transformer back into the outlet, open a few faucets, and slowly pull the handle out of bypass to service. Okay, up here when we put this together, it says we need to put the, when we put this in, the next thing we have to do is put this in service. Here's our blade. So let's get our gear. So this is the gear drive. And you can see where it's got the letters, and service is right here. So service needs to point there. So what we need to do is find out where this goes, and we're right past service right now. So let's go all the way. It says only turn it clockwise. Oh, it's really hard to turn. We're going to get a wrench to turn that, I guess. So instructions say before you fully tighten this, to turn this to service. And you can see how I can turn this pretty easily with screws loose. Bring it around, and there's rinse, there's service. We got a ways to go here. There. So we are in the service position now. Now we can tighten the screws. And we're going to make sure these screws are snug. Every other one. Skip one. Okay. Next step of this process, before we put stuff together, we're going to pull this off. We're taking this upstairs because we're going to lubricate this with some regular grease for where the gear runs. Okay, so we lubricated the gear teeth. So now we can put this on. Remembering it only goes one way. There we go. That's on. The next thing we want to do is get our switch back up. That's this switch. And you'll find that it's got only 2 holes it can go in. I believe it can only can't go in those. Well, it could go in those, I guess, but it goes in. What are those in these? So we have confirmed in our case condition this was in the back. This motor plate to put back on, which we have to figure out how this was. It was this way. This way. Definitely was right there. That's right there. The question is, was it this way or was it over the other way? I don't know if it can be over the other way. I don't think it can be. No, it was not over this way. It was definitely over this way, and it was definitely right there. So now what we're going to do is put those screws back in, and it looks like there are a bunch of little ones, 3 of them here. Now, before we bring our motor up, remember we took this hose off of this, we took the head off. So you make sure you put that on, and you get this back up there. So if you don't, that'll come off and water will spray everywhere for you. Now we've got this item, and we can tuck it back through the hose here. This is the motor. The motor just goes on like this. And you can see it had 2 screws going through there. And if you get those lined up, take our 2 screws, drop them down the hole the screws were in, like that. And bring these screws in slowly. Remember, you're lining up a gear there, so might have to move stuff a little bit. Again, good and snug. Do not over tighten. Okay. Well, there we go. Located the motor's gear teeth, and we made sure the switch is orientated towards the cam, which is this, with the switch towards it. Now with the valve done, we can plug the transformer back in. So when we plug this in, it'll boot up. There we go. Beep. It says it's still in clean, because that's where we left it. Now, what we need to do is pressurize the softener. So very slowly, we're going to pull that bypass valve back open, and then we're going to go open some faucets. So let's go up and open a faucet, and we'll be right back. We went upstairs and turned the water on a trickle. Now it says pull the bypass valve open. So we push this one. Well, came on right when we did that. So we got that pulled. Now it should be bleeding out the tank. So that because any air that was in this system should be coming out. The good news is, looking at this, hey, I don't see any water pouring out right now, so that's a good sign. We're dry. So once we let that go, we check for leaks, and check for leaks as we complete our cycle. So right now we are in the clean cycle, and we're just going to let this thing run. We're going to go up and turn our water off, and we'll watch it throughout its cycle here and see if anything happens. Hear water flowing. We are now in the brine cycle, and again, we got no leaks coming out, so we are still golden. We still got some other things. We got backwash is the biggest one, where the biggest violent cycle is. So stay tuned. You'll see what happens on backwash. Okay, we just moved to recharge backwash for 35 minutes. Now, backwash is where this thing just poured water, and I see no leaks whatsoever now. There's a drip of water hanging under it, but it's not coming from the top seal, and it's not coming from this edge. So I'm assuming the drip of water that's under here is old from when we took it apart. Looks like it's drying out. Looks like we're doing good. Bring it back when it's all done. So at this point, we've gone through a full cycle. We're going to put our cover back on, and then we are going to add our salt. So with the cover back on, reverse taking it off here. Make sure you got your cabling out of the way. There we go. Cover's on. Now we're going to put our salt in the bucket. Okay, salt's full. Reset the salt level. Totally full. There we go. So don't forget, like and subscribe to My Two Good Hands. We will catch you in the next video. We did rebuild the water softener control head. We don't have leaks, so we're a success there. We ran a cycle, but we didn't have much salt. We'll set it up for Jen again tonight, and we'll be back in business. Okay, please use the Amazon links below to shop my Two Good Hands on Amazon. Anything you buy while you're there will help support this channel and fund more great videos like this. Thank you for your time. Good luck with fixing your softener, and save yourself money.